The 10-minute God there is a silent fantasy at the heart of human ambition. To be faster, sharper, brighter. To unlock your full potential in an instant. To operate at a level others can only dream of. In a world that demands constant performance, what if you could find an override switch? What if you could seize manual control of the universe inside your head? We're not talking about magic. We're talking about a switch. It's a switch that connects every circuit to the main power line, bypassing all the fuses and safety measures. It's a switch that turns on every light in the city at once, with no regard for the power cost. For a moment, the city shines with an impossible blinding glory, a beacon of progress and potential visible from space. But in the substations, the transformers begin to smoke. The wires glow red. The entire power grid begins to scream under the impossible load, buckling on the verge of a catastrophic, system-wide blackout. ACTI, the promise. This isn't the story of how you fall in love. This is the story of how you set your own house on fire, just to feel the warmth. The moment cocaine crosses the blood-brain barrier, it doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't negotiate. It acts like a master code, a biological exploit that bypasses decades of evolved security protocols. To understand the heist, you first have to understand the system it's robbing. Your brain operates on an elegant system of rewards. Dopamine is the currency. It's not just for pleasure, it's the molecule of motivation. It's released when you achieve a goal, eat a good meal, or connect with someone you love. It's the chemical that tells you, this is good, this is important for survival, do it again. In a healthy brain, it's released into the synapse, the tiny gap between neurons, and then it's carefully collected, recycled by tiny molecular machines called transporters. Think of them as a highly efficient cleanup crew, ensuring the signal is clear, precise, and that the system remains in balance. It's a miracle of biological sustainability. Cocaine is a vandal, a saboteur. It arrives and jams those machines with chemical glue. It slams the recycling doors shut and breaks the locks, turning a finely tuned communication network into a blaring, chaotic echo chamber. Suddenly, the dopamine currency has nowhere to go. It can't be reabsorbed. It floods the synapse, trapped, accumulating like a crowd in a public square with all the exits sealed. Your reward circuits aren't just activated, they are drowning in their own fuel. This chemical chaos creates an error signal of such magnitude that your consciousness interprets it as perfection. Your thoughts don't just clear up, they move with the frictionless speed of light. Every idea is brilliant, every sentence is poetry. Social anxiety vanishes, replaced by effortless charisma. Self-doubt evaporates. Fatigue becomes a distant, laughable memory of a weaker person, a design flaw in lesser humans. At the same time, it triggers a surge of norepinephrine, your brain's version of adrenaline. Your heart rate climbs, pounding a frantic rhythm against your ribs. Your senses sharpen to an impossible degree. Colors seem brighter, sounds are crisper. You are hyper-focused, alert, and alive in a way you've never been. For 10, maybe 20 minutes, you aren't a better version of yourself. You are a god, omniscient and infallible. And your brain, the most complex operating system in the universe, believes you without question. Act 2, the echo. The room with no exit. The human brain is an adaptation machine, forged by millennia of survival challenges. But this level of pure, unearned euphoria is something evolution never prepared it for. It mistakes this chemical flood for the most important survival signal it has ever received, and it reacts accordingly. It believes it has found the ultimate prize, a shortcut to the very peak of existence. The first casualty in this state of emergency is reason. The part of your brain responsible for long-term planning, the part that weighs risk against reward, the part that acts as the adult in the room, your prefrontal cortex, is immediately sidelined. This isn't a flaw. It's a feature of our survival wiring. When faced with what it perceives as a life or death opportunity, the brain doesn't waste precious milliseconds on deliberation. It acts. The brain's primitive emotional core, the limbic system, stages a coup. It screams that this feeling, this substance, is now more important than food, safety, or connection. The conductor is thrown off the stage, and the raw, pounding drum of instinct takes over. The control tower is abandoned. Your thoughts begin to run in a closed loop. The rich, complex world outside begins to fade. The voices of loved ones, the deadlines at work, the personal responsibilities, all of it becomes muffled background noise. The only signal that matters is the one echoing inside your skull, the intense, singular need to maintain the flood. Your internal conversation, once a diverse dialogue, simplifies to a single obsessive question. How do I get more? This isn't a conscious choice. It's a neurological echo chamber. The room of your mind gets smaller and smaller, the walls covered in mirrors reflecting only one desire. You become trapped in a monologue with the most primitive part of your own brain, a part that has no concept of a future, only of the immediate, desperate now. It rationalizes, it justifies, twisting logic into its servant. Just one more time to finish this project. I deserve this reward. I need the energy to get through this. The brilliant, logical mind becomes a high-priced lawyer, hired to defend the irrational and destructive impulses of a tyrant. Act 3. The invoice. The silence after the party no grid can run at 1,000% capacity for long. No city can stay lit that brightly forever. Inevitably, the power cuts out. The drug is metabolized by your liver. The chemical glue dissolves. The transporters, slowly and unsteadily, begin to work again. The dopamine that flooded the square drains away. And then, the silence arrives. But it's not a return to baseline. It's not peace. It's a return to a deep and crushing deficit. A void. Imagine you spent an entire year's salary in a single glorious night. The joy you felt wasn't created from nothing. It was borrowed, stolen from all your future tomorrows. Now, tomorrow is here, and your accounts are overdrawn. Your brain, in a desperate act of self-preservation against the deafening chemical scream, has started to dismantle the alarm system. It reduces the number and sensitivity of its dopamine receptors. It's the biological equivalent of your ears going numb after a loud concert, leaving you unable to hear the gentle music of everyday life. Now, the normal whispers of life can't be heard. The morning coffee tastes like bitter water. Your favorite song is just a collection of noises. The satisfaction of a completed task is gone. The warmth of sunlight on your skin feels distant. The color drains from the world. This state has a clinical name, anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. It is the neurological equivalent of seeing life in black and white. The heavy ache in your chest is a storm of cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, flooding your system to respond to the perceived emergency of this sudden, silent void. It puts you on high alert for a danger that isn't there, resulting in a gnawing anxiety, even paranoia. The profound fatigue is your body paying the massive energy debt you accrued. It's a bone-deep weariness that sleep cannot fix. You aren't just tired. You are biologically bankrupt. Act IV, the scars. The ghost in the machine. If the story ended there, it would simply be a brutal, soul-crushing hangover. But the brain's most remarkable feature is its ability to learn and adapt. It's called neuroplasticity, and in this case, that incredible talent becomes the architect of its own prison. Your brain has learned a dangerous and profoundly wrong lesson. The ancient principle of neurons that fire together, wire together, has been hijacked. It has learned that the source of the most intense, meaningful reward it has ever experienced comes not from achievement or connection, but from a white powder. It begins to physically reconfigure its own wiring. The neural pathways that lead to pleasure from natural things, hobbies, friendships, intimacy, are neglected. They wither from disuse, like overgrown country roads. Meanwhile, the pathways associated with the drug, the people, the places, the rituals, all of it is reinforced. These connections are paved over, widened, and turned into neurological superhighways. The brain builds a shrine to its false god, tearing down the infrastructure of its former self to supply the materials. This is the invisible scar. This is the scientific basis for the ghost in the machine. It's why an old song, a street corner, the smell of rain on hot asphalt, or a text from a certain person can trigger an overwhelming craving months or even years later. The brain has forged such powerful links that a single cue can launch an unstoppable chain reaction, a craving that bypasses the weakened, damaged prefrontal cortex entirely. It feels like being a passenger in your own body. The off-ramp for rational thought has been demolished. It's the tragic irony of addiction. The brain's miraculous ability to learn, remember, and adapt becomes the very mechanism of its entrapment. It learns the path to the drug too well, and it slowly forgets the way back. ACT, the hijacked will, but the story grows darker still. Addiction is not just a cycle of craving and withdrawal. It is a siege. Over time, the brain doesn't just long for the drug, it fundamentally restructures its decision-making systems to serve a single master. Enter glutamate, the brain's main excitatory neurotransmitter. It's the go signal. In a healthy brain, glutamate and dopamine work in a delicate balance. Dopamine says, "This is important," and glutamate responds, "Agreed, let's go get it, and let's remember how we did it." But chronic cocaine use shatters this balance. The glutamate system becomes hyperreactive, like a faulty alarm system that screeches at the slightest provocation. Now, the go signal is permanently jammed in the on position. This means the craving becomes compulsive. It's no longer about chasing pleasure. In fact, anhedonia ensures there is very little pleasure left. It's about a neurological itch that cannot be scratched, driven by a runaway glutamate system. The brain is trapped in a feedback loop of action without reward, like a car with the accelerator welded to the floor, burning fuel and tearing itself apart, going nowhere. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the CEO, isn't just on vacation. Its office is being permanently downsized. Studies show long-term use can reduce gray matter in this region. The connections weaken. The ability for impulse control, for delaying gratification, for thinking through future consequences, atrophies like a muscle that's never used. This isn't just a loss of willpower, it's a loss of the very neural hardware that makes willpower possible. You now have a civil war inside your skull. A primitive, hyperreactive limbic system, armed with a glutamate system screaming, "Go," is fighting against a weakened, ineffective prefrontal cortex that can barely whisper, "Stop." The outcome of this battle is all but predetermined. The will isn't hijacked in a single event. It's eroded day by day, synapse by synapse, until the ability to choose freely becomes an illusion. Act VI. The echoes of self, the siege on the brain, has a profound casualty that goes beyond chemistry. The self, the narrative you tell yourself about who you are, begins to fracture and warp. The person you were, the one with hobbies, with passions, with a clear moral compass, starts to feel like a stranger, a character from a book you once read. The promises you made to yourself and others are broken, not out of malice, but because the hijacked brain prioritizes its survival signal above all else. This creates a deep chasm between your actions and your values, a state of cognitive dissonance that is excruciating. To cope, the mind creates a new story. It's a story of justifications, of blame, of minimizing the consequences. It's not that bad. I can stop whenever I want. It's everyone else's fault. This isn't just denial. It's a necessary psychological defense mechanism to protect the fractured ego from complete collapse. You become an unreliable narrator of your own life. The ghost in the machine is no longer just a chemical craving. It's the haunting memory of the person you used to be, a constant, silent accusation. The shame and guilt from this internal conflict become powerful triggers themselves, creating a vicious cycle where the only perceived escape from the pain of your actions is the very substance that causes them. The addiction doesn't just change your brain, it rewrites your identity. Act 7, the true cost power is not a switch, it's a balance, carefully maintained. Intensity is not the same as happiness. The promise of the shortcut, of instant enlightenment, always comes with an invoice, written in the silent, unforgiving language of chemistry. But the final bill is tallied in the currency of the self, in lost time, broken trust, and a fractured identity. It is the great trick of consciousness to mistake a seizure of the senses for an expansion of the soul, to confuse a short circuit with a brilliant illumination. It is the feeling of flight, followed by the devastating realization that you never had wings. You were just falling from a great height, mesmerized by the view on the way down. Welcome to Sensation Lab. Stay curious, stay human, and never stop.